Hello everybody, this is another version of Autism Inside Out, and I am Tom Geisler. I can't say that right. Tom Geisler. There we go. And I have a topic, I hope I can make short here. It was a topic that came up between me and Carol Bird as we were talking today. And it's something that has been going around in my head, and it keeps popping up, which tells me that it's got some substance to it as far as, that I'm not just coming up with this out of nowhere. That I'm going to call this episode Communication, slow down. Communication, our autistic language. And I'm going to put this out as just a little controversial thing to say, and that is that we are a non-verbal community. And I didn't say non-vocal, non-verbal, not having the words. Okay? Communication is made up of all these little symbols. And I say cat, and you go, oh, yeah, it's that thing about this big and has a tail on it and little sharpy ears and a little nose and whiskers and cat. Okay, so we say, yep, we're going to call that cat. Dog, no, dog's the big one. Cat's the small one. Okay, so we all agree on that. What's the word, okay? What's the experience? Well, this is my theory, okay, but I think there's substance to this, and that is, this goes into why we need to, as a community, be together more, develop our community more, develop it into a society, not just a bunch of autistic people scattered in a neurotypical world. Because we have to develop our language for our experience of life. And this is what has not developed. This is what's not around us now. I think this is a large percentage of why let me back up. Without a common language, without common symbols that we can talk about our autism together, and we're developing that. I can see it. The more I'm around people in my community, we'll be talking la 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 la, and just and for 15-20 minutes on something. And we kind of come to a conclusion, a consensus of, I experience that kind of too, and you experience this kind of too, and okay. But we still may not be able to, this is the example, exactly what came up today. What was the word? Disassociation. We're talking about what we do when we freak out, when we stress out, when we got so much going on that we can't handle it anymore, and how do we deal with it? Let's use the word disassociation, to associate with something, to be connected with it. Now, a person who is neurotypical may say, I disassociated from, and they might not use that word. Let's say I just, I can't think of the word that we'd use. A bad day at work, and I just blew it off. Okay, blew it off. There'll be words. It's like, okay, so in another conversation, I say, oh, yeah, I just blew off the, my appointment. I said, heck with it, Of course, that's maybe a change in meaning, but you see, you can take this unit of meaning that you've agreed with one thing and start using it, manipulating it, and it ends up being a tool of communication. But it's all established on a common experience. I'll give the example of cat, okay? I say cat in the United States. It's a lot different than cat in the wild Serengeti plains of wherever, So you think cat, it's like lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. I couldn't resist that one. And so this is just my whole point in this, and this is we really need to, as a community, realize that where we are as far as our stage of development, because we've got an illusion in front of us that this is our society. I mean, in the sense of, and I'm not trying to make people think like, oh, it's us versus them. It is what has developed that between us as autistic people that helps us share our common experience. That's what language we're missing. We can talk about cats and dogs with the neurotypical people. It's like anyone, because we experience the same cat and dog. But when it starts coming to autistic experiences, we are non-verbal, because with the exception of words like melting down and meltdowns and shutdowns and stimming and going nonverbal, what are some other things, and I've learned about those, and I can have an association of a concept with them because I've talked with 50 different people about what is a meltdown to you? What's a meltdown to you? What's a meltdown to you? That's what I've been doing here in my show with Discovering Autism. It's like comparing notes. It's like, oh, I do that too. Or when I first learned I was autistic, I felt this way. Oh, so that when we then use a word like, boy, it was an amazing experience, a neurotypical person, they don't know what we're talking about, that amazing experience of discovering that you're autistic. I mean, they're probably going like, it's like we do a small talk, like, what are you guys talking about? That's a terrible thing. Oh my gosh, you're autistic. I'm so sorry. It's like, no, I'm autistic. I found out I'm autistic. And, and they don't realize that it was a lifetime of searching. It was a lifetime of misery trying to be like the neurotypical people. So anyway, so that's my point. And I wonder how far I'm into that point. Not bad. So something to think about when you're with other people that are autistic is where we are at in our evolution of ourselves as individuals with autism and where we are in our evolution as a community. And then, because without that core of knowing ourselves, knowing each other, having a common language, that when I say something to someone neurotypical about disassociation, it may be something completely different than someone else talked to this neurotypical person about disassociation. So what meaning does that have to that person, to this neurotypical? So there's just going to be common things that just become natural. It's a part of our new autistic vocabulary, and that's what we need to develop. And we do that by getting together. We do that by talking. We do that about being aware of where we stand as a community and as individuals. And that's all I wanted to say on Autism Inside Out this time, and I thank you for joining me. This is Tom Geisler, and we will catch you later. I got to shut this thing off now.